Hey good people, this is Ahmed Minawa from MinawaTube, and today we're going to talk about updates in Thailand. So is it a good idea to come to Thailand at the moment? So in this video I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it's not a good idea to come to Thailand at this moment, in this month, the month of May 2021. So follow this video with me, guys. The first reason you shouldn't come to Thailand at the moment is the quarantine. The quarantine is still a big problem. 14 nights, around 15 days in quarantine. You're stuck there and you're stuck in a room. In most cases, you won't be able to get out of the room and or out of that room whatsoever. Just only they'll bring you food and that's it. But in some hotels, they kind of eased it a little bit. So some hotels which are dealing with some private hospitals, they let the people who are staying in those rooms get out after 8 days, maybe walk around a little bit inside the hotel if there's a swimming pool or garden or something like that for an hour or two, and they allow them even to order food if they have like on their phone any of these apps, Food Panda or something like that, or Grab, and they can like order food and have different kind of dish. That's okay, but most of the time you're quarantined, especially if it's not the most expensive, if it's like the lowest price there of quarantine, you'll not get really a very good care there. So it's gonna be a little bit depressing, especially if you're alone. So quarantine is still a problem. They say that they wanted to change that. They want to make less days. They want to make it 10 days, and they wanted to reduce it actually for people who are vaccinated, even for 10 days or 7 days. People who are vaccinated to quarantine, but only I think people who are vaccinated are getting the benefit of that, staying 10 days. But generally, it's reduced. You still have to stay 14 days. So 90% of the people who are coming to Thailand at the moment are staying in quarantine for 14 days. So that is one of the reasons you shouldn't come to Thailand at the moment. The second reason you shouldn't come to Thailand at the moment is the rise of cases of COVID-19. So Thailand is going through its third wave at the moment, and it is way worse than the first and the second. So Thailand has done a great job with the first wave and the second wave. And as you all know, guys, that Thailand is the first country out of China to get COVID-19, and that was the first wave. And a lot of people took Thailand as an example of how to control COVID-19, and they did a very good job in the first wave and in the second wave, and even in the other breaches, like for people, for example, people who cross the borders illegally, or people who broke the rules of COVID-19 and maybe they were positive. So they managed to control that situations very fast, and people were very cooperative. Like people, the Thai people, they were really very careful, and they took all the measures to make sure that it doesn't spread. But now this third wave is different, and when I say different, I mean that it is actually moving so fast. A lot of people are getting infected. The average number of cases every day is 2,000. I'm not trying to scare you guys. People here really are not that scared. They're trying their best to control the situation. They're trying their best to wear masks, and of course social distance from each other. And as you know, in Thailand there's not a lot of physical touching, so yeah, it's very good. They're trying their best to keep distance and everything. But still, if you're not vaccinated and you want to come to Thailand, it's not a very good idea, because you might get infected and then after you will be in trouble. Because if you get infected here in Thailand, unless you have insurance, you're gonna pay a lot of money in a private hospital to get the best care. And if you opt for the government care, which is for free, you might not like the service in the government care. So guys, you need to be very careful. If you want to come to Thailand now and you're not vaccinated, you need to prepare for anything that can happen. So yeah, that is the second reason why I'm actually telling you guys, if you're not vaccinated, try to postpone a little bit until this third wave is under control, which will be very soon. I'm sure by the beginning or mid of June it will be under control, and then you'll be able to move around Thailand, and you will not have to suffer a lot from the restrictions and the regulations that are imposed now because of the spike in cases. Finally, the third reason you shouldn't come to Thailand at the moment is the restrictions and the regulation. It's connected to my second point. Because of the rise of COVID-19 cases, there's a lot of restriction, regulations, laws that were imposed at the moment to make sure that they control the third wave, which I love that. By the way, I'm totally with all the regulations and the laws and the rules they're putting at the moment to curb down the wave, because that will make us a little bit more free after this wave is under control. Because I'm telling you, after I was here from the first wave in Thailand, and I didn't feel a lot of restrictions as compared to the Western countries and other countries in the world, of course. I actually felt like whenever there was a rise in cases, there was a little bit of restrictions, there was a little bit of rules, and those rules were removed directly when it got under control. So I'm totally with that, guys. But it's not going to be nice for somebody who's coming here for a short holiday. So if you want to come to Thailand for a short holiday, you just have to put in your mind that there's a lot of restrictions. If you're not wearing a mask, you might be fined up to 20,000 baht in some provinces here in Thailand. And that's a lot of money. You're talking about what's equivalent to $350 or $400 just for breaking what's it called, the COVID-19 rules of putting the mask. And if you're on a bike or in a car with your friend and you're both not wearing masks, you might be also fined. Okay, and these fines are really strict at the moment because of the rise in cases. And also, I'll give you the story: a Swiss guy who actually came to Thailand and stayed in quarantine in Bangkok for 2 weeks, and then after that he got out of quarantine. He took a flight to Koh Samui, which is in Surat Thani province, and Bangkok is considered a red zone. Red zone meaning that Bangkok has a lot of cases, 1,000 plus cases every day. That's a lot of cases. But Surat Thani is considered a yellow zone. They have cases, but very little, less than 100 a day. So when he went from Bangkok to Koh Samui, he was actually told to quarantine again in Koh Samui because he was in Bangkok. So he had to do double quarantine. Yes, of course, they're going to be nicer to him there, and they're going to make the quarantine a little bit easier for him. But the thing is, like, he still had to suffer paying a lot of money and has to stay put in a certain location for at least 7 days. So that is not nice whatsoever. So guys, if you're coming to Thailand at the moment, note that there's a lot of regulations, rules. You have to read about them before coming, and you have to actually be very careful or you'll be fined, or even not enjoy your holiday whatsoever. But let me give you a solution, guys. I don't want to just tell you the problems and not give you a solution. The solution is like either you come to Thailand in the beginning of July or mid of June. I would say beginning of July is the best because that's when the sandbox of Phuket should start. It's still on the table. They didn't remove it yet. It's still on the table. That sandbox means that people who are vaccinated can travel directly to Phuket province here in Thailand, and then they will not be quarantined, because most of the people in Phuket who work in the tourism sector or around tourist areas in Phuket, they're all going to be vaccinated by then. So they will allow tourists who come to Thailand who are vaccinated to move freely in Phuket. And after 7 to 14 days, they'll be able to go to any other part in Thailand. But when they come to Phuket, they have to stay in Phuket for at least 7 days. Okay, then after they'll be allowed to go to any other part in Thailand. So that sandbox is a very good option for you if you want to wait a little bit and you don't want to spend a lot of money on quarantine or something like that. The second thing is, you want to come as soon as possible and you don't want to go to Phuket, you want to go to other parts, you can come and spend your quarantine in the middle of June. Come in the middle of June, spend your quarantine, and then you're free to move wherever you want in Thailand. So yeah, that's another option, and I'm sure by that time it will be under control, the COVID-19 in Thailand. I've seen what they have done in the first wave and the second wave, and this should be also under control very soon. Yes, it's taking a lot of time. Since the end of March, beginning of April, this wave has been kind of not under control, but I'm sure they'll make it go under control right now, and tourists will be able to move freely. So by that time, I think restriction will be less. When you come to Thailand and you get out of your quarantine, you'll be able to move freely around Thailand and enjoy your holiday like to the maximum. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, press the like button and comment down below in case I forgot to say something, and subscribe to my channel, guys. I really need the subscribers at the moment. Thank you very much.